everyone, welcome back. This is lesson number 2. In this lesson, we're gonna demonstrate, we're gonna work a lot on our bow, and hopefully you've all been practicing your hot cross buns with the plucking, because now we're going to, after a little recap, we're gonna go and focus a lot on our bow, and hopefully by the end we will learn how to officially play the hot cross buns using our bow. So for this lesson, you're gonna need your fiddle case and all. You're gonna need either, if you bought your shoulder rest, or if you have your nice little sponge shoulder rest, you're gonna need that. And yeah, you're gonna need a pencil for this one, because we're gonna practice our bow work on a pencil first, and then we'll move to our bow. And of course you're gonna need your little rosin that comes with your case. Okay, so before you start playing, at any time you have to, you will need to tune your fiddle. So last class we did a pretty in-depth talking about tuning your violin. I just want to share a couple of additional tips. So if you're using that online tuner or that app, violin tuner, just remember your string names, right? So if you're looking straight at it, it's G, D, A, E, right? So that's from left to right, G, D, A, E. And if you're looking straight at it, if your little tuner is off to the right, usually means that your string is tuned too high, and so you're going to make it lower. So make it lower, you got to turn counterclockwise with these little fine tuners down here. So match the string and twist it the opposite way, or unscrew it to make it lower. And if your needle of your tuner is off to the left, usually means your string is too low. So if you actually were successful in tuning last week and your fiddle is still, it's usually going to come up as low, and then we'll bring it up. You got to turn to the right, turn clockwise, screw it in. That makes the string higher by tightening that string up. Another quick thing that I didn't mention in the last class, because I didn't want to give you so much information, but I thought I'd mention it this class. If your string is completely out, it's not registering, you know, G, D, A, E, say your A string or whatever is not coming up as A, it's coming up as a E or a B. I thought I would let you know that in music we use the alphabet. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then we repeat and start again with A. So G goes to A. So if your A string, for instance, that third one, or the second smallest one, if that one's reading on your tuner as a G, that means you're a whole tone too low, right? So G then goes to A. That means you're too low, and you're going to need to move this peg, right? The A peg, follow your string all the way up. You're going to need to twist that away from you to make it higher, right? From a G to an A. Just do things very gently, about a millimeter or so. You got to twist it away from you. For instance, if that same A string, let's say, registers as an E, a B, that means it's too high, right? You're one whole tone too high, A, B. You got to bring it back down to an A. And by doing that, you follow that string up to the A peg and twist it towards you, lowering the string, or loosening the tension on the string, making that string lower. So yeah, so now that our fiddles, you need to tune it up. Pause the video and tune it up. So if your fiddle's more or less tuned up, we'll do a quick review of some of the stuff we did last week as well, including holding. We'll review the holding position, finger placements, and then plucking, and then we'll actually do a quick plucking of the hot cross buns just to make sure you're all good and ready for our bow section of this video. All right, so fiddle holding position. Make sure first off, put that shoulder rest on. If you would like to have your shoulder rest, I would highly recommend a shoulder rest. So right, you're gonna slip that sponge or your fancy shoulder rest. Make sure it's nice and in there. All right, that's probably one of the biggest things if you're not able to hold your fiddle correctly, is making sure that your shoulder rest is properly on there. All right, so once you kind of got that shoulder rest on there, you're going to use your left hand, left shoulder, bring that chin, and turn looking down your strings, right? So if you're sitting, make sure another thing, make sure if you're sitting, make sure your chair doesn't have arms on it. So if you have arms on it, it's going to make it really challenging to add our bow later today. So make sure, of course, that your fiddle is parallel to the floor, right? That your right elbow, your right wrist, and such are all kind of lined up underneath each other, and that your fiddle is angled off to the left, right? We don't want to be playing straight out here. We want to be playing to the left. Okay, so quick finger placements, right? First finger about an inch and a bit from the bottom towards you. So an inch towards you, that's about where your first finger goes. And then another inch away, that's where your second finger goes. And then your third finger always is right next to your second finger in this position, okay? So that's a quick review of your finger placements. Let's do a quick review, getting ready to do our hot cross buns of our plucking. So putting your right thumb kind of on the edge of that fingerboard, and we're plucking about a couple inches over onto our fingerboard. Pluck a couple open strings using your pointer finger. You want to give it enough tension so that the string vibrates, right? And you can actually hear the sound. All right, so I thought we would, let's practice our hot cross buns. Here we go. Starting on that first finger on your A string, first finger or your pointer finger. Here we go. 3, 2, ready, go. One, open, D3, D3, A, 1, open, D3. Let's do it again. 1, open, D3. First finger on A, open A, D3, D3, open A1, open D3. Okay, I hope that went well. If you need to pause your video and practice that a little bit more, it's really important that you know your fingers before you continue on with the bow for later on in this video. If you don't, if you can't find the right fingerings, it's going to be even more challenging once you add the bow to this. Because once you add the bow to this, there's about 1,000,001 things you got to think about. So I'm hoping that you're all practiced up and you don't really have to think as much about your fingers anymore. And we will move on to some bow work. Okay, so let's review the parts of our bow. So get our bow out of our case. It should be loose, right? If you unpacked, or if you packed up your bow properly, your hairs on your bow should be nice and loose, and that's how we want them when we put them away. So let's review some of the parts. The tip, right? That's where that pointer is. We got the stick, right? The wood parts. This is kind of like the grip area. And then these little white dots here on either side, and this kind of big block of black plasticky wood type stuff. That's known as your frog. All right. There's also a screw, all right, that's at the bottom. You can actually unscrew the whole thing and your bow will all come apart, but don't unscrew it like I'm doing. All right, so that's the screw to loosen your bow or tighten it. And then of course you have your bow hair, which we never really want to touch because of those oils on your finger. And of course, if you have any loose hairs, please cut them off with a pair of scissors or a nail clipper, and never just yank out a whole bunch of hairs, or you may end up with shedding hairs faster than you want. Okay, so let's tighten up our bow. There's going to be one thing we have to do before we can actually start doing bow work, and that's something called rosining the bow. So if your bow is brand new, which it should be for most of you, you're going to need to put rosin on it. So let's tighten our bow. A good judge, actually, for how tight you should tighten your bow when you play is you're looking for about a pencil width. All right, so if you can fit a pencil, no problem, without touching your hair or your stick through it, that's about what you want. Okay, so now that it's nice and tight, we're gonna get out our rosin that should be in each of our cases. And sometimes rosin's all, it's got a little cloth on one side, so you'll have to open up your case and kind of pull apart that fabric. And this is how we're gonna rosin the bow. So we're gonna start at the frog, bottom of the bow where you hold it, and you're going to do nice long strokes, about 4 times, and then we're going to do little tiny ones just to kind of get that rosin all nice and in your hair of your bow. We're going to go up and down. Once you learn actually how to hold on to this is a good way to practice your bow hold. And then we'll do a couple of long strokes just to smooth it out. So yeah, that's rosining your bow in a nutshell. It's depends, rosining your bow, frequency of how often you should rosin it really depends on how much you're playing. So if you're playing, let's say you're all like A++ students, which I know you all are, and you're playing 15 minutes every single day, I would say you probably need to rosin like once a week. Okay? If you, if you only are practicing a few times a week, you probably could go longer than that. I would say like every 10 minutes of practicing, every 10th time, you probably will need to do a quick rosin of your bow. So actually without your rosin on your bow, you wouldn't have much of a sound. It would just make a really quiet sound on your fiddle. And yeah, so you actually need the rosin in order to grips onto those strings and produces and projects that sound. It's part of the steps that projects your sound of your playing. Yeah, so that's rosining your bow in a nutshell. And yeah, we will move on to holding our bow. How does that sound? So let's put our bow down, and if you have a pencil or sort of a pen that doesn't have too many gadgets on it, some of them are kind of funky these days, we're gonna practice our bow hold using our pencils first. Okay? So I like to explain how to hold your bow using a bunny. It's called a bunny technique. So your bow hand is right, your left hand is the one that will be doing the fingers on the fiddle. Your right hand is typically going to be your bow hand. So what we're going to do first is you're going to hold your right hand up. You're going to tuck your thumb, right, like you're making the number 4. And then you can make a fist if you want over top of that thumb. Now you're going to make bunny ears on this fist. So you're going to bring up your pointer finger and you're going to bring up your pinky. See, we got a kind of a funky looking bunny with 2 teeth and 2 ears. If you want, you can give them a little animation there. So yeah, so now that we got kind of our thumb tuck underneath these 2 middle fingers and we got bunny ears going, we are going to add a pencil. So this pencil is going to be our bow for now. It's going to replicate our bow. So at first, we're going to put that pencil and fit it right underneath those 2 middle fingers where the teeth are of this bunny. Okay, we're going to kind of just hold that there. I'm holding it between my thumb and my 2 middle fingers. Okay, now we are going to slip our thumb out. Okay, and at the same time, so now we kind of have a modified bunny, and at the same time we're going to spread the teeth out a little bit, and we're going to place our pointer 1 ear down, and then we're going to place our other ear on top, and this is more or less what we're going for. Okay, so your thumb is kind of, if we were looking straight at it on like this, it's in between that first finger, the pointer finger, and your middle finger, right? And your pinky should be just right on top. So you should have a nice grip on this, right? If I'm pressing into my thumb, and if these guys are pressing down and my thumb's pressing up, it's not moving at all, right? So if I'm holding this wrong and I'm pressing up, it's actually going to come off. So that's one way to figure out if you actually have a good bow hold, right? If I were to do that in any other way, look, it's collapsing. So you want a good grip, okay? So you want that thumb down, these wrapped around, and that pinky sits right on top. This is how it looks like the other way. All right, let's do that one more time. So let's get our fist, right? Make the number 4, put into a fist, bunny ears, get that pencil, put it right underneath, make it eat that pencil, those teeth. And now what we're going to do is we're going to flip the thumb out. The teeth are expanding a little bit. And then we put our 1 ear down, which is our pointer finger, and the pinky on top. Okay, and I'm pressing with my thumb and my other pinky and my pointer finger, putting those 2 down, and I'm pushing my thumb up, and nothing's happening. It's solid. That's what we want. If it feels like it's slipping, or if this pen is slipping out of your hands and falling onto the floor, that means you got to readjust. You got to adjust it, okay? So that's what we're aiming for, okay? And the bow is probably the hardest part of this of playing, and it's something that takes a lot of practice and actually quite a long time to master. Yeah, so if you're not getting it right away, just keep practicing, keep playing, and eventually things will smooth out for you. Okay, let's try that now with a bow. Okay, so first, get your bow ready, kind of on the side. All right, we're still gonna use our bunny technique. So, right, number 4, fist, bunny ears. Okay, this is pretty solid now. Now we're gonna take our bow with our left hand. Make sure you're holding it by the wood and not with the hairs. Now let's zoom in a little bit here. We're gonna place our bow, we're gonna place our hand where the frog of this bow is, right? The 2 eyes, remember the 2 eyes, kind of like frog's eyes? I don't know why it's called a frog. Anyways, we're gonna make our bunny eat our frog of our bow. Now, what's really neat is when we bring that thumb out, remember on our pencil when we twist our thumb out from those teeth, when we twist our thumb out from those teeth, we're going to aim to put our thumb in this kind of little notch of the frog here. Okay, that's not like, don't jam it in, right? You're going to get a bruised finger or a really sore finger, but just nicely placed there, okay? So that's what we're aiming to do. 4, fist, bunny ears. Make the bunny eat that frog. Okay, now my teeth are right over top of that frog. Now I'm popping out my thumb and it's going right in that notch. Like so. See that? One pointer finger goes down, pinky on top. You see that? Okay, that's what it should look like. I'm going to do that one more time, so shake it out. We want you nice and relaxed. We don't want any stress, fiddlers. Okay, shake out your hands. Okay, here we go. Let's try it again. Number 4, fist, bunny ears, teeth are eating that frog, like going right over top of that eye. Now my thumb is going right in that notch right there. Okay. And now my pointer finger is going right kind of ahead of where my thumb is. And then my pinky is going to rest right on top. So when I press up with my thumb and down with my former bunny ears, nothing's moving. Okay, if you need to reverse the video and do that a few more times, please do. Want to make sure that you really understand and really get that a good bow hold. If you have any questions about that, write them down and we'll discuss that in our in-person gatherings next week. Okay, so now that we have more or less our bow hold, we're going to do a couple of bow exercises, also known as, tip control type games, just to make sure that we really have a handle on this random stick that we got in our hands. So a good exercise is call this the windshield wipers. Very original. I didn't make up these names. So yeah, we can do some windshield wipers with our bows. We can kind of bring our bow ahead of us and then back towards us. Just kind of bringing in and making sure and feeling comfortable with the weight of this. You can kind of do some modified windshield wipers going up and back and forth. Okay. Kind of get a good feel for that weight in your hands. Okay. We can also practice with our air fiddles. Whee! All right. So here's some, let's bring our fiddles. Remember, left hand, left shoulder, chin to the left. We're just gonna play some open strings, okay? So bringing your bow to your fiddle, okay? You're gonna be placing your bow on your fiddle and you're gonna aim to play sort of, let's say this whole big bow, is a pie. We're gonna aim to be right in the middle. So half of this bow right in the middle. We're gonna kind of avoid really close down to the frog and this sort of little section up here up top. Just for now. Eventually you will get to play those areas, but let's just focus on the middle section of this bow. So long bows using about this much of your bow, okay? So let's put our fiddles up. You're going to get your nice bow holds, and we're going to use the D string, so G, D, A, E, right? G was the lowest, so D is the second one from the left if you're looking straight down. And so we're going to place our bow on our strings. And when we place our bow on our strings, do you see where my bow is? One thing you're going to notice is that it's parallel, right? We're aiming for your bow to be parallel to the bridge, that wooden thing that's holding up all your strings. Yeah, we want it to be parallel to your bridge and parallel to this fingerboard that's going straight across, okay? So we want a bow parallel like that. But to play right in the middle between your bridge and your fingerboard. Putting that bow right in between there. That's where you're going to get the best sound. If you're over here, you're often going to get a lot of screechy kind of sounds that might disturb your animals in your house. And if you're playing over here, sometimes you can get a little wispy and not get a full sound. So let's put our fiddles up and try the D string, okay? Notice my bow is nice in the middle, planted firmly there. And we're going to let gravity essentially do what it does best. So we're going to pull our bow down in the downward direction. And yeah, it's going to make a noise. You ready? Here we go. Make sure you're on the D string. So you got to check. You got to look down right here at your strings. Here we go. D. And then we're going to pull up. So we're pushing away from us. And now I'm pulling towards me. Let's do it a couple more times. 4 times in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Should we move on to the next string over, which is the A string? So planting your bow down in the sort of the center of the bow. You can kind of see it's center bottom. And we're going to go down with our bow first. And then we're going to go up. All right, let's do it 4 times. Ready? 3, 4. Okay, let's shake that out a little bit. How was that? Your first time? I hope it went well. We're going to do a couple of other exercises with our bows. So yeah, so put your fiddles up, right? You should have a nice holding position by now. We're not going to use our fingers for this one either. We're going to start in the middle of our bow. We're going to start on the lowest string, which is the G string, the one furthest to the left. We're going to play that note, and we're actually going to go down and up for all 4 strings. Do you think we can do that? We're going to give it a try. Here we go, starting on the G string. D, A, E. And then E, A, D, G. And you should feel that you need different angles to make different angles with your bow and with your elbow should be moving up or down in order to be able to play those strings. So if you look at my wrist and my elbow in the G, you'll notice it's really high up. See how high my elbow is? Right? It's pretty high up. If you see my D string, it's a little lower. My elbow is a little lower. That elbow was much lower. A, it's definitely even lower. And our E is even lower. Look how tight it is. So that's called a rainbow exercise. So down. Another key thing to make this exercise work is the pressure that you use. So not only is it, dragging that bow across the strings and where you play it and if you're parallel or not, it's also the pressure that you use. So if you're using a lot of pressure, you may get some crunchy noises, which is always fun. If you're using not enough pressure, like you don't have enough, you're not pressing down enough on your strings, you'll get wispy sounds. Kind of hear that? It's kind of wispy sounding. So we want enough pressure and our angles all lined up And if all those stars align, you will get a really nice, clean sounding note. If one of those things isn't right, you might get a little bit of a sour note, one that's not perfectly clean and crisp. But yeah, like I said, bowing is definitely the hardest part to this fiddle playing. It's the hardest part, but we're gonna make do. Here we go. Let's practice our bows again. So we're gonna go a couple of exercises. Let's do 4 strokes, starting on our D string, which is the second one from the left. Then we'll do 4 strokes. So when I say 4 strokes, it means down, up with our bow. Down is pulling down, up is pulling up. Okay? So we're going to go 4 strokes on our D string, 4 strokes on our A string, and then 4 strokes on our E string, back to back continuously, okay? So each note, right, has its own bow stroke. So D, 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 A, 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 E, 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 okay? Here we go. Starting on the D string. 1, 2, ready, go. D, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4, E, 2, 3, 4, back to A, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, 3, 4, and we'll do G just for fun. All right, that's definitely going to be an exercise that you do and you practice as much as you can. Okay, let's do a couple of other funky rhythms and such before we try hot cross buns with our bows. Okay, this one is going to be a little quicker. And so it's going to be 2 strokes on your D string, then 2 strokes on your A string. We'll go back to D, 2 strokes, A, 2 strokes, and then we'll do A, 2 strokes, E, 2 strokes, A, E, and then we'll go A, D, D, G kind of thing, okay? That way, we get a little handle on faster bowing. Okay, let's give it a shot. Get your fiddles up in a nice form, and we're going to start on the D string. 2 strokes. Ready, go. D, D, A, D, D, A, E, E, back to D, 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 and then G just for fun. D, D, G, G. Okay, if you think you've got a little bit of a handle on this, don't worry if you don't, you will get this. Maybe pause the video, go back about 10 minutes and start all over again. Repeat, practice, and you will get this. Remember that slow is actually typically better than fast. The faster you go usually is you can't hear what's happening. So go slow, go steady, and you will get this. Repeat, rinse and repeat, and you'll get this. Okay, so if you need to repeat that section, please do. If you want to continue on with me, let's do the hot cross buns to this. So we'll pluck it one time just so we get that fresh in our memories. It's really important that you don't need to focus as much on where your fingers go at this point for this song, and that you have, so you can focus all of your attention on this bow. You're gonna need every little attention that you have just focusing on your bows for this. So let's put our bows down temporarily, And we'll get our fiddles back up. And we're going to pluck hot cross buns. Here we go. Not too fast. 3, 2, ready, go. One, open, D3, D3, open, A1, open, D3. So if you think about this, we're going to do it one more time, but this time I want you to think about each pluck that you're doing. That's a bow stroke, whether it's a down bow stroke or an up bow stroke. Okay, so let's play this one more time and think about each note being its own bow and sort of visualize that. Here we go. We're going to start again, same speed. 3, 2, ready, go. Awesome. There we go. That's the hot cross buns. If you're comfortable with your fingers and you want to give the bow a shot, please do. Let's get our bow hold ready for our fiddle. So, fist, bunny ears, bunny teeth eats the chocolate, thumb slips out into that frog, into the mouth of the frog. Pointer finger goes down, pinky goes on top. Okay, our bow is ready. Now with our left hand, we will grab our fiddles. Right, left, shoulder, and then we'll look slightly to the left. Okay, now remember, one note. So if just our first finger on the A, which is our first note, that's going to be just one bow stroke. And then our open, which is our next note, is going to be another bow stroke in the opposite direction. Okay, so we're going to go first finger down, open is up, and then a third finger is down on D. Okay, and then we're going to go up. Okay, so it's going to be, and then up, down, about the length of the bow that you use. It's going to be long, 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 long. Here's a couple of short ones. Short, 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 long, long, long. Lots to think about, right? Okay, let's relax. We're going to be fine, right? Here we go. We'll go nice and slow, one note per bow stroke, okay? Get your first finger prepped about an inch, from away from your top or your bottom, whatever direction you want to go. That's your first note. Let's practice. We'll start sort of close to the bottom. You can see sort of that bottom, top of the bottom quarter there. And we'll go down. Try not to hit more than one string like I did. Let's practice that again. So going down stroke, so away from your body. First finger on A. Now we're going to pull up our first finger and we're going to pull up our bow. Okay? Now we're going to put all 3 fingers down and switch angles of our bow so we're hitting the D string this time. And we're going to have all 3 fingers prepped there. We're going to pull down. Okay, now we've got to switch back to our A string. We're going to pull up with our first finger on A. We're going to go down with no fingers. We're going to peel that first finger off, go down bow. Now we're going to put all 3 fingers on our D string, switch angles to make sure our bow is on our D string, and we'll go up. Now we got those 4 short bow strokes, starting on down bow, down, 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 up, down, up, down, up. First finger going down, peel off our first finger on our A. Now it's open A going up bow stroke. And we're going to finish with all 3 fingers on our D string, the down bow. Okay. Hope that wasn't too challenging for everyone. We're going to do that a couple more times, maybe one more time for this video. And if you need to do it 10, 20 more times, please do. Practice will make perfect in this instance. Okay. Now, get our nice bow holds, fist, bunny ears, bunny eats the chocolates, slip our thumb into the mouth of the frog, 1 finger down, pointer finger down, sorry, and your pinky finger down. Okay, let's try that one more time. Here we go. Nice and slow. First finger on A, here we go. Down bow, making sure your bow is touching the A string and only the A string. If you touch other strings as well, you'll get nice, beautiful sounds that'll make your cat's back go real high. Here we go. First finger on A. And we're going to go up bow and peel off our first finger. And now we're going to switch angles on our bow to be the D string, and we're going to put all 3 fingers on our D string down. Now we're going to go up bow for our first finger on A, switching our bow angle, pulling up. We're going to peel off our first finger, go down. We're going to put all 3 fingers on our D string and pull up. Now we have our 4 short bow strokes on our D3. Here we go, starting on a down bow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to take all of our fingers off and play the A string, making sure we're just playing the A string for 4 short bow strokes. Here we go, starting on down bow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put your first finger down, and we're going to play down. 1. We're going to go up. And we're going to put all 3 fingers on our D string and play down bow on our D3 as our final notes. There we go. That is the hot cross buns with the bow. So I want you to practice that lots and lots and lots of times. We're going to play it, I'm going to play it once time through, not as many prompts. See how you do with this. I will play it as slow as I can because it is quite challenging to remember, and remember those angles of your bow. Hopefully you're not paying as much attention to your fingers, but if you are, that's even more challenging. Here we go. We're gonna go 3, 2, starting on a down bow. Ready, go. Let's do it again. First finger on A. First finger on A. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Open. D3. Woo! How was that? The hot cross buns. I think that was a hot cross buns. All right, so I hope you were able to follow along with this lesson today. Like I said, The great thing about doing this online is you can always pause and repeat and repeat in as many times as you want. For this next couple of weeks, I really want you to focus on that bow. So I want you to practice, your bow holds, not only with your pencil, right, but practice it with your bow itself. The pencil is really useful. I used to be, when I was learning this as a young child, I used to, pencils were a thing back in the day. We had to write in school. And when I was bored, I would literally just practice with my pencil, my bow hold, all the time. So practicing with your pencil when you don't have your bow out, but don't forget to get your bow out. Practice with your bow. Practice that windshield washer without your violin or your fiddle. Just practicing the controlling of your bow. You can go nice and slow, right? But you can also go a little faster. Making sure that you have nice control so you don't drop it, because bows can break. And then I want you to also practice those exercises with the violin. So practice it first without any fingerings. Let's not worry about our fingers at this point. Let's just focusing on the bow. Doing that rainbow exercise, right, where you're trying to fit all 4 strings onto one stroke and then going reverse, all 4 strings on the up bow. So like so. So that one's really focused about really slow down your bow for that one to try to get all 4 strings into one stroke down, and then all 4 strings into one stroke going the opposite direction, going up. Also, keep practicing. You can practice different rhythms with your bow strokes. So doing long bows on each of the strings. Twice usually is good. So 2, do down on your G string and then up on your G string and then down on your D string and then up and then down on your A and down, up, down, up. Okay? So steps like this. And then go back down. So practice that. And then practice quicker stuff, like 2 strokes. Make it twice as fast. And then you can always do switchbacks, right? So. I call those teeter-totters because your bow is literally teeter-tottering back and forth between the 2 strings. So practice that as best as you can, teetering back and forth, especially between the D and the A string. 2 strokes, and then open A, 2 strokes, and then back to D for 2 strokes, back to A for 2 strokes. And speed it up as you get more comfortable, okay? Everything should be done slow first and then speed it up as you get more comfortable. So yeah, if you get through those exercises, then I would pluck your hot cross buns and then attempt it with the bow, okay? So you're gonna have a really busy weeks ahead of you. This week I really do want you to focus on your bow and getting that up to speed, because once you have them both together, it's really key to have your bow ready as well as your fingers ready. And once you have both of those ready, then you'll feel comfortable more comfortable in playing. Okay, I hope you had a great lesson this week. Keep practicing. Don't forget, loosen the hairs of your bow with the screw at the end if you're going to put your fiddles away. Don't forget to take off your shoulder rest before you put your fiddle back. And then, yeah, we will see you all at the in-person lesson, and hope to see you soon. See you for lesson number 3.